The first question the audience asked ever to the cast of Women Orishas was, how could you produce something feminist out of such a patriarchal culture as is the Afro-Cuban culture? And just yesterday, another countryman, another Cuban, asked me, why are you disseminating witchcraft in the middle of the 21st century? So I love the questions and provocations, as you know, and I have to say first that I am not a santera. My approach to this culture is pretty much as a historian and as a thinker and as a dancer. And the knowledge I have about the Afro-Cuban religion is pretty much indebted in the work of Victor Betancourt, the head of the House Temple Ifairan Lowo in Cuba. He has written several books about the practice, and while he's very controversial, he is certainly somebody that have invested a lot in the education about the universal aspects of the Ifa and Santeria practices. But to me, when I encountered for the first time the Afro-Cuban dance, I was 15 years old, and I had never read a book about Afro-Cuban history. I have no idea that Afro-Cuban history was a subject that was worth or, of interest to any author or intellectual, because this information was not available to us. And the first sense that I ever have that probably Black people in Cuba could have another history, another epistemology, another vision of the world was through the dance. And I'm glad, because in the last 20 to 30 years, there have been several historians that have been compiling and producing the history of Afro-Cubans that is considerable and relevant, not only for our country, but also for the African diaspora. But I have access, before I read any book, through Orishas dances. And I think people that study communication and the formation of culture understand that the most important symptom of humanity is the meaning making, is the development of science to communicate. And these cultures are pretty much full of monuments and codes, and in very unique and interesting ways are also creating a legacy of who we are, or who we have been, no? And when I think about Orishas in particular, I think Orishas are a very particular way of telling the history of Black people, in a way that one Orisha is composed for a collective history or several people that were identified as such archetype. So it's a form of history that is centered not in the individual, but in the contribution to the collective, to the community. And that is basically like the only relevance that the individual can have, no? In the way that affect positively and transform their communities. That is what Orishas is. And so to me, a dance ethnographer, somebody that is interested in the history of the popular culture in the Caribbean, these dances and these practices are a form of history, are the equivalent of reading a history book, but it's even more fun because we can just dance it and enjoy and exercise and connect with nature. And I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm just trying to share some ideas and well, there's always going to be people that hate what we do or what we say, but there is nothing that we can do about it, I guess. But for the ones that understand, and I know there is many people out there, please come to Lehman College Saturday 12 at 6 and at 8. Get your ticket at Eventbrite right now. Women Orishas at Lehman College. Thank you.